What is going on, SoFi fans? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to talk to you on why right now is a very good time to buy in, especially based on what 𝗪𝗧𝗢 recently just said. So I'm going to go over what that is, what that means for us as investors, and also hypothetically where SoFi could go in the short term. Before I get into any of that, making sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe is always greatly appreciated. With that said though, let's get right to it. So based on 𝗪𝗧𝗢, there was an interview where she talked on basically the broader market, what people should be doing with their money, and she does talk on CPI data. So in case you do not know, CPI is coming out tomorrow. That is going to be a very big deal. Forecast is actually projecting it to be negative. Previously, the month over month was 0, so as you can see, it is negative 0.1%, but a lot of people are going to be now looking at the month over month and also the year over year. You can see this tweet right here. It does break down based on the institutions on what their actual guesses are. So again, it's one of those things that hypothetically, if this is negative, it could show obviously inflation being curbed, potentially showing a nice downtrend, which is very good for growth stocks and the broader market. Keep in mind, I'm not a financial advisor. Do your own due diligence at the end of the day. But what 𝗪𝗧𝗢 recently was saying is that a lot of individuals should have cash on hand in case we go out. And hypothetically, right now, we're just trading within a set range. And to put that in perspective, just looking on the SoFi actual chart, we are currently below that 50-day moving average and kind of in a wedge between that and the central Bollinger Band. In SoFi's case, it is a little bit more tighter, which is why on the intraday chart, it was very range bound, as you can tell right here. But on a lot of other growth stocks, it's a little bit more of a wider gap. So that's what she is most likely talking about, especially with the broader market as well. I personally feel SoFi is on a verge of a very, very good breakout, especially like I said about CPI data. If that is in fact lower, then anticipate us going up. In reality, she does talk on the next Fed meeting as well, which is on the 21st, on which they most likely have one big actual rate hike left in their ammunition or whatever you want to call it, before they start to kind of just evaluate to see what the market's going to do. Most likely it is either going to be 75 or 100 basis points depending on how things are or how CPI and also PCE numbers come out. So that's something you just need to factor in the grand scheme of things. But still, like I always say, SoFi is a very long-term investment. You just need to realize that it is going to do a lot of good things, and years from now you're not necessarily going to look back and think about the CPI data. You're just going to see it as $20 plus or whatever it might be, clearly going to be substantially higher than this. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. Even Jim Cramer is jumping on board, saying that hypothetically, based on the technicals and everything, we are actually at a bottom. He doesn't say that we are at the all-time bottom though. Just based on the actual technicals, we do go through waves. So as you can see, kind of a temporary wave right here, wave, and so forth. So he's basically just calling the bottom of whatever wave we are on, whether we are starting to trend up from here all the way up to $10, $20, whatever it is, or potentially vice versa if we're trending down. But given the circumstances and the momentum in the market, I feel that there's going to be a lot of good data coming out, more so from CPI and then hopefully from the Feds, insinuating that we can all trend up significantly higher. So I think there's a lot of optimism in the market depending on if you want to see it like that. Clearly, 𝗪𝗧𝗢 is very optimistic about the broader market, so that's very good to see from SoFi. So let me know your thoughts on that. I personally am a constant buyer. I did take advantage of these cheap prices while they were to get my average down. So if it does stay around this range, I'm definitely going to continue to average down. That's my own 2 cents. Personally, like I always say, I think that SoFi should be around $10, which still is pretty cheap if you ask me, because based on this as well, it does show $13.54 as a consensus price target of all the analysts. So given that I'm saying around $10, it's relatively cheap. So even the fact that we're at $6.41, that's mind-blowingly low. So let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comments below if you are a buyer. Also, just generally speaking, let me know your thoughts on CPI. The last data that did come out, clearly like it says right here, was 0%. Obviously, a little bit more backwards thinking, because what happens is that it came in at 0%, but in reality, energy was negative 4.6, insinuating the other basket items were plus 4.6. So when this data did come out last month, then we had a nice, quick, aggressive spike up. But once people started to look at the data, realized that it was actually the larger basket items, not necessarily just energy, Unfortunately, that caused it to go down. So we'll see about tomorrow. Hopefully, in the grand scheme of things, it is both the basket items and energy going down, because we know that based on July to August, energy did go down quite a lot. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. Personally, I feel that it is curbed, and right now is an amazing time to buy in, and more so as well based on the technicals. We are on the verge of a massive breakout. Even looking at stochastic, you'd see that massive deviation, so black line above the red, showing a nice bullish trend is really wanting to be ingrained in the actual technicals. Momentum number of retail investors are definitely getting in. So, and like I said as well, we are on the verge of just breaking out of this 50-day moving average. So if CPI is very good and possibly even negative, obviously when I'm talking negative, I'm talking physically negative, but obviously once we do get higher from this, we can easily get to around the $7 range, which is a very strong pivot point for SoFi. So with all that, let me know your thoughts on SoFi in the comments below. If you haven't already, don't forget to hit that thumbs up, and subscribe is always greatly appreciated. And if you do like my channel and support the growth, take a look at my memberships. Link in the description below, or just hit the join button at the bottom of the screen. With that said, appreciate you guys watching, and let's all make a lot of money on SoFi.